So I normally do this at the end, which means I've already done some lymphatic motions or massage. And so I like to start up top actually and work my way back down. So this can be like a finishing draining motion where you've done all of this work on them and now you're pushing the lymph back down and out. That's how I like to think about Gua Sha personally. So I'm going to start on the forehead with some stroking motions. And you just lay the stone down. You're going to keep it at a 45-degree angle, or sorry, 15-degree angle, not 45. 45 is too much. You want it 15, more flat. And you're just going to stroke up really gently. And you can do this 3 to 6 times. I'm going to do 3 just for quickness. And then I'm going to work on the side 3 times. And then switch to this side 3 times. And I do switch hands, but you guys will have to see what you're comfortable with if you need to do the same hand the whole time. And then one way that you could finish, if they have a lot of stress and tension, a lot of times they'll have that in their hairline. And so you can pull back to this point and do a little bit of like harder pressure wiggling here. But the pressure with Gua Sha should not be very strong. It's very much just you lay it on the head and let the stone do the work. And then put a little bit of pressure at the end if you need to. So up 3 to 6 times and then across. So I'm just going to go straight across the forehead. And then switch. And then we do the eyes. So the eyes, you're going to lift, and this is where we use these points here. I'm going to grab the eyebrow with that and lift it up. And I'm following the shape of the brow, and then I'm going to pull to the forehead at the end. So it's kind of like a J shape or an L shape almost. We're working with the brow while lifting and then curve up. With the brow as you lift and then work up. Now, if you have people that do have a lot of adhesions in their forehead that you're trying to work, or like on yourself even, you could get in there and scrape a little bit more aggressively on those adhesions. You just don't want to push too hard. So you could get in there and work this area with like little scraping motions to kind of work some of those out. And you do always, when you're doing more aggressive scraping, you want to hold the skin taut with your other hand. So hold it taut and then work that out. I have to do this on myself quite a bit, right above my eyebrows. I'm going to switch to the other side, lift up to the forehead, lift up to the forehead, lift up to the forehead. And then, like I said, if you have any adhesions here, pull and work. And he does. He has one in the spot. He was telling me it hurt when I was rolling his forehead. You can also work up the nose, so something like this, but I usually don't. Because these Gua Sha stones do not feel good on bony attachments. So like if you're actually scraping on a bone, it will hurt the person. And so sometimes I find that that's the case on the nose. So I don't usually do that, but I just want to show you, you could. So now we're going to do under the eyes. And this is really important, you guys, if you have dark circles, puffiness under the eyes, anything like that. I actually do this to myself every morning when I put on my eye cream because I do get really puffy eyes after I sleep. So you're going to lay the stone down underneath the eye flat so you get like the full benefit of the coolness of the stone. And then you're just going to hold on to the nose so the skin is taut and turn the stone until it's horizontal and then out. So you're laying it down, turning it like a full 90 degrees and then out. Lay it down, turn, and then out. We're going to do the other side. Lay it down, turn, and out. Now, if you feel like you need a little bit more under the eyes, then you can go back in and do these light scrapings, but really, really, really gentle under the eye. And think about pushing. So you're pushing from here all the way out. And then the next point that's going to help even with the eye drainage as well as your sinus drainage is the nose. So the nose is a scraping motion. We're actually going to scrape down between those 2 points that we focus on. So remember this, like one right here by the eye and then one below the nose, and scrape down between those two. Next is the lip. So I'm going to hold the lip with one finger and scrape down with the other one. I'm being more gentle on him because he has braces. He can't use a lot of pressure here. But if they don't, you could use a little more. And then I'm going to work this muscle through here. So we're going to pull this and scoop it up to sculpt. This is more of a sculpting motion than a drainage motion. And you could do that in 2 ways. You could lay this here and pull up and sculpt, or you could lay it here and pull up and sculpt. Okay, so pull it tight, lift up and sculpt, and you can do that, like I said, with the flat side or with the pointy side. And I do like to give a little bit of a wiggle at that zygomatic bone. If you do it on yourself, you'll feel that if you have jaw tension, that's a really good place to work into, is in this area right here with a little bit of extra pressure. And then you can do the lower lip. And we're going to work the jaw. So the 2 main ways to work the jaw are going to be just to lay the stone at that 15-degree angle and pull up. And once again, since I deal with jaw tension, I do like to give it that wiggle at the end. Don't do that. The other way is to do some more like consistent scraping motion. So I would pull his head to the side, turn your head a little bit, babe. And I'm going to scrape up. And notice I'm kind of sandwiching his ear too. So when you have jaw problems, there's a few things happening. You have these muscles that go this way that are connecting, but there's also muscles that connect through here that help with your jaw moving up and down. So you can't just work at the jaw and here. You have to also work all of this even up into the scalp. So for this one, I like to get back up in there and scrape into this area too. And then there's stuff you can do for the scalp too. I'll show you in just a sec. Then other side, I would do one of my motions. So I'm going to scrape up, wiggle. And then final drainage motion. So final drainage is just going to go down the neck and you're going to scrape down as many times as you need to. And you should always finish like this. And we should be telling clients this too, because you know they're doing Gua Sha at home now. Everyone has a Gua Sha stone. That they should always be working this down and out so they're not creating. Turn your head.
So I'm going to use that. Spread out. I stop at the temple. I put my thumbs back down. And then I turn my hand to drain under the eyes. So it's like a rotating motion. Across the forehead, stop, thumbs come up, and turn under the eyes. Now I'm going to place both of my hands down at the jaw and pull up. And if they have jaw tension, I'm getting my fingers in there and pulling into this bone. And then I'm going to lay my palm or pads back down and just very slowly pump down the neck. Jessica, don't use your thumbs. Use this part of your hand right here. Jessica S. Yeah, like that. So your fingers are like up like this and you're using just the palm of your hand to pump that down. And then usually this is like the last motion I do, right? Because I'm putting on their moisturizer. So I'll just stop and press on their shoulders.
That's my shirt.
And then maybe feather back to do my final like release motion, which usually is covering their ears. I like to use this as a release because it kind of creates a weird sensory environment for them. They can't sense as much of the sound, and then we release it back to them very gently with a swirl on the towel, which sounds like the ocean. And then finish.